Hi, David Humphries again with the 9th recording in the series on how to use the Property Auction Expert Lot Analyzer, and we're still looking at the viewing schedule, but you will notice that the viewing schedule has now changed since the 8th recording. The reason for this is that I ran into problems in trying to explain how this recording worked, this section worked, and we've had to modify the viewing schedule section in the Lot Analyzer. So let me take you through it. The Google Place letters still remain. The view type becomes an automatic fill based on a certain other criteria which I'll go through. All you now have to do at this stage is introduce the travel time between the various properties. The arrival time is automatically calculated and starts off looking at the arrival time from the depart time to the arrival time, and then it adds on the default viewing period in minutes to calculate the next arrival time in the absence of the travel time. The viewing time you already inputted in video 8, and we've now introduced the depart time as a new column. The way this works is that, taking the first example, you're departing at 11 o'clock, and because we don't have any travel time in the analyzer at the moment, you are arriving at 11 o'clock. You're viewing at 11:30, and therefore you're departing at 11:50, which is 20 minutes, the default viewing time after the the viewing time. So 11:30 plus 11:50. You then go on to the next lot, and you are arriving at 11:50 in this particular example because there's no travel time. I will now input the travel times, and you will see the result of that. Just to carry on a little bit further, we've got eyes coming for internal viewings here because the arrival times are before the viewing times. 11, 11:30, 11:50, 12:15 and 12:35, 1 o'clock. It's also set up on the basis that you can arrive inside the viewing window and still view internally. We then have the external viewing set up. This is an automatic fill. Although you're arriving at 13:20 in this example, there's no viewing scheduled for this day, the 28th of November, therefore you have to view externally. And in this particular instance, you are arriving at 2 o'clock, 1400 hours, for an 11:30 scheduled viewing, therefore it has to be external. So I will now go and get the travel times, and the travel times are in this Google map list. If we cursor down in this list, you will find that the travel times are listed at the bottom of each place letter. So here we have place letter A, and the travel time to go from A to B is 13 minutes. So in A, we then leave A and we travel to B, and it takes 13 minutes. So to start with, I'm going to put half an hour into this travel time, and there we are. So I'm left wherever. I've left home with my office at 11 o'clock. I've spent half an hour travelling, and I've arrived at 11:30 in time for the 11:30 viewing, and I will depart this viewing at 11:50, 20 minutes later. Then, according to the Google itinerary, it will take me 13 minutes to go from A to B. So I will enter 13 minutes into this column, and notice when entering time you have to use a colon, so it's 0:13 for 13 minutes, which means that leave at 11:50 from place holder A. I travel 30 minutes, arriving at 12:03 for a 12:15 appointment, leaving at 12:35 and travelling to C. Back to Google Maps, cursor down, and it's an 8-minute journey from B to C. So I'll enter 8 minutes. Arriving at C at 12:43 for a 1 o'clock viewing time, leaving at 1:20 or 13:20. I then go from C to D, which is 11 minutes. Repeat the process. And now I arrive at D at 13:31. There's no viewing time set for the 28th of November, therefore it's automatically an E, and the color changes on the Google place letters. I then travel to E, which takes 14 minutes, 0:14, arriving at 14:05. Again, it's an E because there is no travel time set. Sorry, there's no viewing time set. And then finally I travel to F, which takes 17 minutes, 0:17. And I'm arriving at 14:42 for an 11:30 scheduled viewing time on the 28th of November. Therefore the viewing time turns red, which means that I cannot view internally. Therefore this goes to E automatically. Now if I was to change a travel time earlier, let's for instance say that I'm going to change this travel time to 45 minutes, 0:45. The result of that is that this viewing time goes red because I'm arriving after it, and I'm arriving more than 20 minutes after it, because allowed for is that default viewing period of 20 minutes. So that's how you complete the viewing schedule, introducing the travel times. I'll just take that back out again, and I'll bring the map into play. So here we have finally the viewing itinerary. We're traveling from A through to F, A, B, C, D, E, F, and it gives you the travel time between each property, plus the viewing times are in there and the arrival times. As you can see, you're able to view these first three properties because you reach the properties in the viewing time allowed for by the auctioneers. Then D and E become external viewings because the viewing time is scheduled for another day. And finally F becomes an external viewing because you needed to be there by 11:30 and not arriving at 14:42. Now what you can do is change these Google place letters. You can move them around as I showed you in an earlier video. Just scroll back up, move these around to change them, and see whether you can make it work any more efficiently. And this is why I said at the beginning of looking at the viewing schedule that you may take 2-3 attempts to get this viewing schedule correct and have it operating in the most efficient way, so that you may be able to go from A, B to F to C. You couldn't do it in this particular example because you've got 11:30 for F and you've also got 11:30 for A, and you're not going to be able to view both these properties inside that 20-minute viewing window. And this also indicates that there's more than 2 representatives of the auctioneers showing these properties. Somebody is starting down here with A, and another person is starting with F and maybe moving north into another area up towards Wolverhampton, and covering a cluster of properties northeast of West Bromwich. But it's only by completing this schedule or reaching this stage of the viewing schedule can you see exactly what you can do. And this is the reason why you need to input all these postcodes into Google Maps first and then start completing this viewing schedule, bringing the viewing times in to see which is the most efficient way of viewing 10, 15, 20 properties. And it's why in the masterclass we teach how to internally view properties to reach a bidding decision and how to externally view properties to also reach a bidding decision. One final point, we decided to eliminate Windrush Grove from our Google list. We started off with Windrush Grove, or the place letters going through to G. Note that Windrush Grove still remains in the list, but it's lost its placeholder and therefore remains at the end of the list effectively. So we don't delete properties that we've identified as being potential prospects from the lot analyzer. We do delete them from the map. They lose their placeholder status, therefore they don't have any of these numbers attached to them, any of the timing numbers attached to them. You may decide at a later date, having completed the itinerary, that you can drive past the property just to double check that your decision was right, but that will only come out having reached this stage and looked at the itinerary. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings me to the end of 9 videos on how to use the Property Auction Expert Lot Analyzer. We will be going through this analyzer in the masterclass and looking at creating an itinerary with a lot more properties in it. But as I said, this is absolutely vital to enable you to view the maximum number of properties in a single day, and that single day needs to be at the start of the viewing period or the viewing days listed by the auctioneers. One final point, I'm not sure whether we looked at the viewings page in a earlier video. Let's just look at that. And here we have the viewings page, which will work on an iPad. We've got the viewing date, the Google reference, which is A. Let's go back to A. It's A here, which is 96 Hiltons Road, being viewed at 11:30. 96 Hiltons Road, postcode, the viewing time, and then relevant information which you have to hand when viewing the property: the auction guide price, current annual rent if let, market rent, LHA rent, the market rent value. This is a calculation on market rent which hasn't been inputted, the last sold value or last sold price, and the for sale value. So all this information is available to you on each property, and to reach the next property you simply change this and go to B, and then all the information concerning a lot, Google reference B, lot 87 comes up. Just to go back and show you that is the case, we're looking at 141 May Lane in this particular case, and lot B is 141 May Lane. And that does bring me to the end of this video.